which one point which Anjali missed out inadvertently was to mention that you're an accomplished actor as well, as you fulfill the role of Ramadir Singh in Gangs of Wasseypur, which was highly admired and appreciated by all those who watched it.
Thank you.
So, Tigmanshu, basically, in a freewheeling chat, which I would like to pose a few questions and on the industry which you are in. Currently, we have seen that since March, ever since the lockdown has taken place, we have seen that there has been all cinema houses, etc., have been closed for the longest possible time. The film industry is a highly capital-intensive business. A lot of money gets poured into it. Theaters require a lot of investments. There is a huge gestation period for the same. I recently attended a seminar by Sadhguru's Isha Leadership Academy, where Mr. Alok Tandon, CEO of Inox, was present. And he mentioned a very pertinent fact that from 200 plus crores income revenue a quarter, they were down to zero overnight. Now, this is more than a shock and awe type of situation. It is an absolute aerial bombardment, if you want to call it. How has the industry managed to keep itself afloat in these times? And it's not going to change for another few months, at least, if we are lucky, that is. So what is the industry doing to combat this challenge from the business angle, first of all? And how does the new over-the-top media outlet like Netflix, Hotstar affect the revenue of your industry? And is that the future?
Well, I think you kind of combined 2-3 questions into one.
Yeah, sorry.
So I kind of forgot which was the first one.
So the first one would be, how do you combat the issue of the theater? I mean, the main thing is, how has your business modified itself or evolved to combat this loss of revenue? Actually, it has come to a standstill.
Yeah, like in every segment of society, in every profession, there are the haves and there are the have-nots. It's there. So people who have the capacity, all the big stars, all the big director, producers, who can kind of survive for, even if they don't work for 2-3 years. I mean, they have so much money. And they live comfortably. Their wives will be very happy, you know. So, but there are the bigger segment of the industry, which is the industry, are the people, the workers, the daily wages, light boys, the sport boys, the carpenters, and assistant directors, even cameramen, camera assistant. There's so many of them, lakhs. They really had a tough time. Now the shootings have started. I also just did an ad of Swiggy 5-6 days back. So the situation was very strange. It was like entering an ICU. Everybody in the unit was wearing those PPE suits, and they were finding it very difficult to kind of work. But it wasn't the same. So as I was saying that there are people with loads of money, they will survive. But people who don't have the money kind of suffered. But there are unions in our industry. I mean, the workers' unions and the cameraman union. They have supported people a lot. Salman Khan, many other stars have also given money. So we are surviving. But as far as the theaters are concerned, even if things get back to slightly in a normal situation, people themselves will be scared to enter the theaters. And especially the kind of audience which goes into multiplexes are the people who take more precautions. And I don't think even if they open, they will go. So, but theater owners have had a gala time all these years. As they say, these are testing time. These are times when we make our corrections. And so, like the South industry, they have given all the theater owners, all the multiplexes, some demands, which I feel are completely true. I mean, producers in Mumbai should also follow the same. So, new corrections are taking place. I think shootings have started slowly. And I don't know about bigger films because bigger stars kind of will take it easy. So Akshay Kumar has started shooting in London for a film,
Yes, in Scotland. Yes.
a film called Bell Bottom. But others, I speak to others and they say, no, no, we'll kind of take it easy. So I don't know what will happen to feature films, but television and web series have started. They have started shooting.
But Tigmanshuji, the cinema, a typical cinema outing for a family in a multiplex or a family of four comes to nothing less than 8 to 10,000 for an evening today.
Correct.
That's huge revenue we are talking about. Cinema plexes are also responsible for huge rental income to the shopping malls and other property developers. Now
True.
that income has come down to zero, and as you rightly say, we are reaching a stage where even if it starts eventually, it's going to be at least 3 months to 6 months before people even start getting confident to move.
That is true. See, malls have opened. I stay right behind Infinity, and the malls have opened. People are going to malls. So as far as those shops are concerned, see, I have a problem with these multiplexes. So my point of view will be slightly different than from a man who thinks only commerce. All right, because they are the people who have kind of have stopped coming to. They can't people who cannot afford those kind of tickets because they don't just sell you a cinema ticket. They sell you a parking ticket. They sell you a samosa which costs 5 rupees. They sell you for 100 rupees. They sell you a popcorn. I mean, this is atrocious. So
Yes,
that is why the footfalls have kind of come down. South people, South producers have given all these multiplexes a charter of demands. And those demands, if they meet, I mean, even our producers here follow, and then the multiplexes open, then it will be a great thing for everybody, for the producers. Here we have to give for a Hindi film, we have to give a virtual fee to all these UFOs to beam through satellite. That fee is not given for for an English or a Hollywood film. Why is that? Cut it down. All the ads which are shown in theaters, the multiplexes people, they take the revenue. Why? The audience has gone to see a certain film, a Dabang or any other film. In that film, you're showing an ad. You must share the revenue with the producer. So all these, yeah. So yes. These are valid points, and there is a certain kind of system in the distribution system where the producer gets 50% in the first week of the revenue. It is shared 50-50%. The distributor takes 50%, the producer. In the second, it is like the producer will only get 43 point something. All this has to be rectified. You have to make changes in all these things. It should be 50-50 all through. So it's a huge. These are points. Forget about pandemic. Forget about these. But this is the time when everybody should sit down, join their heads, and think and make corrections.
You basically mean to reinvent the industry entirely. This is a good time to do so.
Yeah.
Okay. And sir, regarding the OTT platforms which have come we have seen 2-3 films released in this lockdown, like Gulabo Sitabo, then there has been the Sushant Singh Rajput's last special, Dil Bechara. All these films have been released on the Netflix, Amazon Prime, which they call over-the-top OTT media. Does that affect the revenue in any way for the producer who has pumped in so much money or the financiers?
It depends on what kind of deal he strikes with the platform. Smaller films, I mean, films which are made under 10 crores or 12 crores, 13 crores, they will find it easy. Even if they have a decent actor in the film, and the film is around 12 to 14 crores. So I think that film will be bought. Probably he will not make a lot of profit, but the gamble which a producer has to get into when he releases the film might not run. I mean, nobody probably it will get an opening of 10-15%. It might be a huge flop, but here at least that money is guaranteed, and you're not spending. The producer is not spending money on marketing. That is a huge amount which gets saved. So for medium budget and smaller films, it's a great time. But a film like Suryavansham, which is they're kind of still waiting and they're still deciding what to do. If it gets a price, probably the price of, no profit no loss kind of situation, because it's a very big budget film. So that kind of money the OTTs will not be able to give a producer, which a blockbuster eventually earns. That will not happen.
So what happens to the big budget films which are under shooting right now, or which are, okay, those which are yet on the infancy stage can be stopped until better days come. But ones which are nearing release or which are halfway through and huge money is stuck up. I mean, you're talking hundreds of crores. No one can wait for the situation to improve over the next 6 months to a year before launching in the theaters. How do you think that is going to pan out?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I mean, if a film which costs say 150 crores, and if it in good times it gets a good release, it releases, makes money, then the chances of the film is probably getting 700 crores, 800 crores, and then eventually you release it in China, you get more money there. So there is no kind of limit to it. But an OTT platform will never be able to give 150 crore film. It will never be able to buy it in 800 crores or 700 crores or even 500 crores. That is not possible. So I don't know. I really have no answer for this.
Okay. And so, last question on this particular subject matter, this particular point is that you rightly mentioned that the big stars, the big people are really not affected. They are taking a much needed sabbatical break. Wives are happy that their husbands are home, etc. That's all fine. What happens to the mid range, to the television actors who are there on daily basis? I mean, who earn per episode and who are, they are doing well, but if they don't have that kind of reserves to sustain themselves for very long, then you're talking of the technicians, the extra, the support staff, the artists. What will happen to them? Because this is going to be no one can afford to pay them just now when there is no production or no revenue taking place.
It was terribly bad. All these, I mean, for the last 5 months, it was terrible. But now shootings have kind of started, as I said, not in that kind of volume as it used to be, but slowly. I mean, if a makeup artist was working for say 20 days in a month and was getting around 2,500 rupees per day, he will be probably working for a week now.
Okay, so he gets.
Yeah,
he also gets his income reduces like everyone who's involved, or like all of us, all our revenues. True. So my next topic, the next question is on so Bollywood today, as you are aware, is in the news for all the wrong reasons lately. My next question is a slightly sensitive topic regarding nepotism in the industry. You are a self-made man. You have come with no mentor sort of blessing and have still made it. But the question is that does nepotism really, it does exist. It cannot be denied. Is it as bad as it's being portrayed to be? And what's your thought on it?
Well, what nepotism does is probably it gives, suppose, a star son an easy opportunity to make it a debut. But eventually, he or she will have to prove their talent. Otherwise, the nepotism only, gives you a opportunity too early, too soon, without any, any struggle. But eventually, then you have to prove yourself. Look what happened to Kumar Gaurav. I mean, Kumar Gaurav had a. People still stay in the industry that after Rajesh Khanna, the kind of nobody got that kind of stardom. Only Kumar Gaurav got for a year or so, year and a half. After that, his films flopped, and where is he?
Yeah.
So it doesn't work like that. I mean, you have ये कोई सरकारी नौकरी नहीं है कि जुगाड़ से नौकरी लग गई फिर आप आराम से बैठे हैं तनख्वाह ले रहे हैं. यहाँ तो प्रूव करना पड़ेगा.
True. because as you rightly said, Kumar Gaurav, I was going to bring that subject topic up. You have people who are like Abhishek Bachchan, Bobby Deol, who are very talented, but have not got their due in the industry because of their larger than life fathers who have a big, huge legacy behind them.
Yes.
But what I wanted to ask you was that is it true that newcomers are being like there is a clique, there is an old cartel, the old families which control the industry to a great extent? Is it true that it's a very, very rare Akshay Kumar or someone like that who can wiggle himself way up to the top, and the rest can unfortunately end up like Sushant Singh Rajput, who was shunned in the end and who had a very sad ending, and such a talented man. So, is this really as bad as it is being portrayed of this cartelization and this ruthlessness, which is supposedly being portrayed in the media?
Well, see, it's half true and half not true. I mean, yes, you're right. There is a clique. I mean, there are these 3-4 friends who kind of control most of the successful part of Bollywood. I agree with you, and everybody knows about it. But even their parents, when they had come, they might have faced the same situation. Now, I am a first generation filmmaker. My daughter is studying filmmaking. So I'm going to create the same situation. It happens like that.
That's natural.
Yes, and it's quite natural. And there's so many of them. Like you said, Akshay Kumar, Shah Rukh Khan.
Yes.
And they're two big stars. I mean, big stars.
Who came in with nothing.
And Salman Khan is also not son of a star. Salim Saab writer थे. और जब सलमान आया तब तक वो राइटिंग शायद सलीम जावेद had broken up and वो 1-2 फिल्म में तो वो एंड का था उनका करियर. तो सलमान भी कोई ये ऐसा नहीं है उसको कोई ब्रेक होती वैसी. that film was a fluke, his first film.
So talent ultimately does pay, is what you're saying.
Sorry?
Does count. Talent ultimately does count.
100%. But there are also some stars who have done 150 to 200 films and still can't act.
We won't ask you to name them, don't worry. So just before I end the chat, and if I'll open it, if anyone has any questions, but you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. Two actually. One is, have you been also a victim of nepotism at some stage in your career? You don't have to name names, but I mean, did you face it?
No, it was whatever I faced because of my own decisions. I will not blame anyone.
Okay. Thank you. And so last question is that what's your next project? Can you divulge it? Can you tell us what you're working on?
Yeah, right now there are there's a feature film and there are 2 web shows, one on Hotstar and one on Sony. We were about to kind of get into pre-production when all this started. But now again, we've just started our pre-prod. Probably in January, we'll start shooting.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tigmanshu ji, for this very short but very effective discussion and talk. If anyone has any questions or anything, we can open the forum up for a couple of minutes before we move on. Or else we thank you very much, sir, for sparing the time.
I have a question. Question.
Tushar bhai, go ahead. Please go ahead, Tushar bhai.
Mr. Dhulia, very nice presentation. I've been stage actor in my college days, and I wanted to become an actor many years before. And my father called me one day, and of course there were no 100 crore, 200 crore club then. So he asked me, at the end of your career, how many years your career will last? So of course Ashok Kumar was there and all. So he would say another 20 years career. At the end of 20 years career, what you would make it, right? And when I did the calculation, it didn't add much. And he said, listen, if you come in a business and you start a business, you be an entrepreneur and you run a business, you make much more money. And trust me, it proved well for me. And in spite of going in the stage career, of the acting career, I decided to go in a business career. And of course, I made much bigger money than I would have made as an actor. The second question he asked me, and that time Rajesh Khanna and Amitabh Bachchan was just there. said, can you become Rajesh Khanna or Amitabh Bachchan? I said, no, I will never. He said, what is the sense? If you can't become number one, number two, there's no sense going and standing in the queue. So, it still plays in my ear what my father told me. And of course, I gave up my theater. I came to my business. Would you give this advice to your children, what my father gave it to me now, having been in the practice?
Well, if I see some spark in my children or in somebody who's kind of aspiring to get into the art field, if I see that kind of spark, even if a little bit, I will definitely encourage them to go and join theater or film or whichever art form they want to pursue.
Okay, considering theater doesn't give any money, In my days, there was 100 rupees a cover in a night when I used to act in the play.
True. But films today, the web series, I mean, they make a lot of money. They do make a lot of money. And then you also do it for posterity. Even people know you. Okay. Your work doesn't die.
I leave it there. But I thought just to share my experience. And one of the filmmaker, I was sitting with him and he told me, he said, what are you talking about 100 crore club, what we have? You guys make 100 crore every month and you are not there. Good industrialist whose turnover is say 2,000 crore, he makes 150 crore every month.
True.
And he said, we make 100 crore film, it will take 2 years, 3 years. And good luck, God has to be with us. And you be in the industry, you will sure to make because your projection, you tested the market, your marketing, so you have less risk. So I thought just to skip that.
I'd like to say something. See, the field I'm in this field not just for money. It is not money. Even if I survive a bit, अगर मेरा थोड़ा बहुत जो मेरे ऐश और आराम की चीजें थोड़ी बहुत, that is enough. But when somebody appreciates my work, that is वो करोड़ों रुपए से बहुत ज्यादा होता है. तो हम लोग सिर्फ पैसे के लिए नहीं है.
घर भी चलाना पड़ता है साहब.
हाँ, तो घर चल जाता है सर. इस बीच पेंडेमिक में पैसे नहीं खर्च हुए.
I thought I'll just point my point of view, what my father told me. So I'll leave it there now.
Mr. Dhulia, one last question. See, the digital platforms and digital technology is changing the world and it has affected our industry and trade and commerce, and we know it has a big impact on your industry, be it how films are made or songs are made and how they are broadcast, how people see on their, say, laptops or iPad, and the new trend of web series and all this change. So how do you see future for entertainment and what next in that? Like we have reached up to here. Any vision for what next is coming there?
So I've been predicting it. At least 5 to 6 years back that this situation is going to come. And it is something which I kind of analyzed and was also told to me by my guru, Shikhar Kapoor. And he's one guy who's a visionary. He sees things. And so I had thought, because all these ticket prices were going up, footfalls were falling down, people were not able to afford a theater ticket. And digital had just entered. So I had said that people will stop going to theaters. I mean, eventually theater, only circus, tamasha films will run. A Bahubali or a Salman Khan film, or only these films with people say, okay, I'll see one film in a month. And I'll only spend around, whatever popcorn and everything money on one film. What about the others? The other smaller films which are, much more evolved films, I would say. So that content has certainly gone towards the OTT platform, which is very good. And the future, you're saying, probably people will just sit at home, put a chashma, and in that chashma, you'll see a theater. You'll be able to select your seat, and you will feel that you're sitting in an auditorium, but you'll actually be in your drawing room. You'll get that theater experience. That is the future.
Shantanu, we have one last question because we have to move on to the next speaker. Mr. Jaideep Raha from Calcutta would like to ask, and then we'll have to close this part of the session, please.
Okay.
Yeah. Jaideep, please go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Dhulia, I have, watched most of your films that you have directed. And let me tell you, I'm one of the dropouts of NSD. I could not pursue it because I hail from a very middle class family, and my father was a bureaucrat, and he did not appreciate me getting into films or acting. So I was forced to drop in and get into the mainstream of working career. And being from a Bengali family, we were more akin to working for banks and being a chartered accountants. So I had to drop out. But I had in a short stint, I had a good experience of being on the stage as a stage actor. And I have done some of the, shared the stage with some of the stalwarts who are now, names in Bollywood. Mostly they are stage actors. They have come up from NSD, of course. My basic question to you is, with this Netflix, with this Hotstar, and of course the Bollywood and the other, South Indian film industries and Telangana film industries, what is the future of the theaters? Where would the theaters go? Because that is something which is live, actually live. You have to perform right in front, and there is no take and retake thing. Because once a dialogue not delivered properly, that's it. It's lost forever. I mean, your performance is gone forever. You cannot do take and retake, which you know it very well, being a film director. What is the future of this theater industry, sir?
So even the past not so glorious, I would say. When I was doing theater, when I was in the National School of Drama, we used to see the same faces in every show, in every play. Same people, same cars, same people, same way. I couldn't hardly see new people, suddenly interested in theater. So theater, I think, has become only folk theater still has a large audience which is there in villages. But as far as the two-tier cities or all these people, like cities like Allahabad or Banaras, Jabalpur, Bhopal, theater has become a very personal experience. It will be practiced by a very few people who just want to, sit together, rehearse, and show their talent to again a select few. So theater will be very experimental, very personal.
So you have been, your family group has been like a sort of a benchmark for our industry of the continuity of business. Many family businesses, it is said that the first generation invents it or starts it. The second generation builds up and the third generation destroys it. That is the norm, if not the exception. But your family business has been an exception. It is flourishing. With God's grace, it also has a very tight-knit family, and it's an achievement in itself. In our logistics sector, we have got many family businesses, mid-sized companies, and we are today's current situation of the coronavirus pandemic, etc., has put many of these businesses' very existence in jeopardy. Also, the onslaught of foreign multinationals entering in the same space, offering are more competitive. They can invest more. They can afford to lose money for some time. So there are many challenges. Digitalization and tech is coming in a big way. So a lot of challenges are coming up. How do you, what do you suggest, or what is your thinking of the future of mid-sized family-run logistics firms in our industry? Where do you think they will end up? And how should they innovate?
See, it is a very complex question. You put it very mildly, like every gentle Parsi does, but the fact is, it is quite complex question. First of all, we have to decluster ourselves. My first way of declustering in life, I divide problem into two: solvable and non-solvable. On non-solvable problem, I don't worry. Like suppose whether China will attack us or not, that is not something in my control. So I don't bother. I read, but it doesn't matter. We will see when it comes to it. So we get bogged down with a lot of routine things over there. Second thing, when the business, because of the social media, because of the internet, and because of the various methods of the modern system, or the business models have changed. And this is where I feel that most of the family business have erred, and we have erred slightly lesser, is that we have not changed with time. Today, when we meet a foreigner, and when I see all my dear friends, some of them are here present, that when I see them, that they are getting impressed by what foreigners are saying, then first thing I'm seething with anger. What foreigners have got about the knowledge of India, what we don't have. Only thing they have got is that they probably have a contacts and they have a deeper pockets or anything. But our core competency is equally strong. If I have a famous and common refrain that if Marx and MSc can join hands, why not us? This is something which our industry has failed. In many forums on a personal level, I've spoken to employ people that please let us see. Tushar Jani did try to talk to minister that we have a big logistic park where all of us invest. You know, as a conceptually it was tried or at least thought over, but it did not materialize. So our joint family or the family businesses all over the world, firstly, when you Google, you will realize that the USA has a lot of family businesses thriving. BMW is a family company, Chiclet is a family company, plenty of them. So Walmart. If they are surviving, why not us? So our problem is that we are thinking that we will not survive. So that is the first point of the defeat. अभी सामने वाला बॉलर बॉलिंग डालेगा तभी आपको लगेगा कि आउट ही हो जाएंगे तो आप कहां से रन करेंगे. So first of all, we have to believe that our place is there. Second logic, which we have to explain in a family, that Indian economy by all standards is going to be 3 times bigger by 2030. So are we going to have 3 times business? Are we going to improve our bottom line by 3 times? Frankly, on my third business, which I am presently looking after, it is not likely to be. But that doesn't matter. The economy is going to grow 3 times. So in 3 times growing, what do our family business need? Third point is that our children, when they are studying abroad, it has its own advantage and disadvantage. One of the biggest disadvantages is that in abroad, a lot of people work only for multinationals, so they become risk averse. Your intuition plays important part for a family business to run. And those who don't play by those intuition, I'm not saying that we have to play blind or we have to take undue risk, but intuition is important in family businesses. And this is where I think a lot of foreign study children, they are feeling risk-averse because they put Western standard on the values of running here. Now, if we are not taking the risk, naturally reward is not there. Today, if Reliance says 3 times, we all know the risk what Mukesh Bhai took, you know, something like that. So I'm not saying that we are comparable with Reliance. We are nobody as compared to him. But the fact is, within the parameters of our ability and our mindset, are we too risk-averse? Are we too much problem-focused or solution-focused? Third and most important thing, I personally feel that our forwarders, as compared to their presence and capability, they underinvested on their infrastructure. So what has happened? We became a situation that we only became the service supplier. Now, with service supplier, a newcomer who comes, who may not have experience or credibility or commitment as we have, he can always lower the price and we are told to match the prices. So eventually what happened in 10 years or 15 years on many of the businesses, not a single rupee has increased while our costs are increasing. So our ability to understand business goes down. Our ability to be self-esteem, keep our self-esteem intact, that is also going down. So combined factor of this, when our children come, they feel that iske badle to main foreign mein job karu to acha hai. Iske badle to main, you know, I work for KPMG or I'm just giving a name to anybody, that is better. So when they have lost the interest and when we ourselves are feeling vulnerable, believe me, when I invest in any of my businesses, I'm as vulnerable as any one of listeners who may be vulnerable. So vulnerability is there, all of us. Negativity is there all over us in India. But whether we can overcome or not is something we have to explain to our children. And if we are to have frank discussion with our children, that if they do not wish to join the business, if they wish to join the business, please make them tougher and ready to battle with the hope that when India becomes 3 times bigger, you also become 3 times bigger and your piece of cake will be justifying the efforts. But if they don't want to join, then I would like to see, always feel that some partners who are capable of sharing your vision and capable in joining your efforts, if they can be your partner, even if they are not part of the family, will be only way to sustain the legacy. So I have experienced both. There are many unknown companies where we have been partners, silent partners or active partners, whichever case it may be. And we have learned a lot of the partnership outside the family also. So we have tested both. So I would say that it depends upon the passion and joining the dots of both party to think aligned. I think our children are very clever, but they are risk averse, and perhaps we parents are responsible. We pamper them too much, slightly. Sometimes, I'll give you a small example. A big deviation is a lesson to learn. My elder daughter wanted to run a radio taxi company in Ahmedabad. We were before Ola and Uber with the same type of app and everything. For an easy remembrance, we named it as Apple Cabs. So I bought the cars and I lost a lot of money. So when I lost the money, we sold the company, we closed down the company. First thing I told my daughter that it was a lesson for you, that making money in business is not easy. But that doesn't mean that you will not try again. Maybe some other business you will try. So our problem is that are we risk averse? If we are risk averse, foreigners, just MTOI should prepare a paper. How many forwarders or multimodal operators from foreigners actually invested money in India? How much? Nothing. Lost a lot of services they are outsourcing from us. Everything. They have business available and they have a aura around them. Why can't we do? Look at Tushar Bhai. He opened Swift there and he made money. So many people have made money. Or we have other examples. Our all cargo. So many examples. We don't know to name them. And another thing which is in a family member, what we are missing is that very, very few professionals can be creator. Either you can be creator, come executioner, or you can be executor, come creator. You cannot be both. So if you are more creator, only a creator can propel the company forward. Of course, he should be executioner also. Like among the professionals we know, only exemption I can promptly remember. I'm sure there are many of them. And I would like all those professionals who are listening this, take example of Mukesh Oza. He is a professional, but he considers as if the company is on. And because of that, he has delivered the performance. He has created the ideas which all of us would like to emulate, though he's not part of Sharaf family or the promoter's family. So there are very few professionals who would like to treat the company as their own, and they would like to treat company in terms of creativity. In terms of execution, you can find many. To identify those professionals, nurture them, eventually, if required, make them partner also, or partner in profit in many forms. But unless we have the team of doing that, unless we self-belief in our business, when I meet any of the multimodal transporter on one-to-one, one of my biggest regret is that your self-belief has gone down. I personally feel that self-belief should never go down. Just now, Mr. Tigmanshu Dhulia was brilliant, but see his self-belief. When Tushar Bhai cross-check, how was his belief about himself? So why our belief should go down? So please tell your next suggestion.
Yeah, Suresh, I'd like to interrupt you one question here. Sorry to butt in, but we are coming to this same what you were to go on more than what you're saying. Family businesses, there's a lot of sentiment attached to it. Okay, now there are times when you brought up Tushar Bhai's case, and with his permission, I will say it. One of the reasons for his success has been that he has been dispassionate. When the time came, he sold his business, encashed, built something bigger afterwards. That's a different question. But today, when things are taking a turn, things are evolving so dramatically and so quickly, most of family-run businesses are being caught unawares. So should they be open to the idea of selling out, mergers, be leaving their family legacy behind, and thinking only about the bottom line and their family's future?
Let me answer you two ways. Firstly, as far as possible, do not attach family name to the new businesses. Like after 1982, we have formed 25 companies, not a single company as Parekh name. Why? Because then emotion is lower. Second thing, why you want to sell the company? Why don't you synergize within among yourself for the like-minded people? Suppose your next generation, you are still young, or anybody's next generation is joining, both of you join hands and try to find whether you can do something. My third feeling is that India-centric business, whoever is a service provider of with whom you are working or everything. Why don't you think to invest with them abroad so that they can assure you the business supply here? Why don't you think of e-tailer support system or a fulfillment center or many things? You know, some of the businesses are easier said than done, that I know. But the fact is, India's biggest problem, which we do not fathom sufficiently, that in terms of, as compared to our economic size, our import-export volume, especially on the containerized cargo, is very, very small as compared to size of the country. In that also, there are so many forwarders who are there, line themselves acting as a forwarder, somebody giving the comprehensive service door to door or whatever it is. So your piece of cake itself is much smaller than what you people are realizing. So in that piece of cake, what you are trying to do is either it should be price driven or credit driven, or using the idea which does not bring eventually enough smile on your face, you know. So how do we reinvent? My request is that all of you should synergize wherever you are decided, because individual identity is possible only if your next generation is very, very passionate. And selling is not an option, because selling, the premiums are not as big as we are thinking. And after selling, what? You get money, say a few crore rupees. What do you do after that? That is the question with most of the sellers. To survive is an exemption.
Yes. But sir, partnerships we have noticed, especially among our local partnerships, seldom work. I don't know why, what the reason is. In Europe, America, we have seen some great partnerships between companies. But in India, that is an exception, not the norm.
One of the reasons, so far as I would specifically talk about your industry, and frankly, beyond the point to giving advice about your industry, is like that BJP minister who corona chala jayega, you know, one of the ministers. I'm not in depth involved in your industry, so pardon me there if I'm erring. I think the controlling of execution is more enjoyable than controlling of creation. I would request that if my ideal partnership will be one partner is more interested in creating and coming with new idea, and one partner is in execution. That will last. But if both are executioners, both are very good into the physical execution, then there is a problem. What you are saying will happen.
And sir, according to you, this how important in today's day and age, especially now you have yourself just said that for the last 20 years you have not used the Parekh brand name in your organization, 20 companies, sorry. How important is legacy and brand continuation? I mean, in today's day and age, like for our kind of businesses.
It's like this, that how many brands are vanishing so fast in the internet era and the modern generation. They are not so much brand coming. Your performance speaks and your evolution speaks. Today, what happens? We are thinking that because we are giving cheaper rate and because we know the manager, director or somebody, we are getting the business. Yes, that's happening. I'm not saying it's not happening. That will not continue. Finally, what is on the table? That will matter. So, brand per se should be neutral, because when you bring an outsider investor, then outsider investor will also see that I can come in a neutral name, I can adding the value, or I can investing in capital. Always welcome them to come to join you, but don't sell your company. So brand per se compromising for your growth is not a bad idea in our industry.
Sir, one more question before I throw open the chat, because I can see several questions coming up. Today, give us your perception and reality of doing business in India for an SME like ours industry, because today we are seeing a sort of a crony capitalism prevalent. No names can be mentioned, of course, but for big projects, etc. And we are seeing that there are only 3 or 4 business houses that seem to be getting everything, and the rest are falling behind. So, what is your take on the reality of doing business in India for us small companies like ours, which we are relatively in size?
I would say that do not get carried away by political announcement and pseudo-patriotism. Do not get carried away by government announcement and the realistic implementation. We are facing that problem in our industry so much. I was speaker, just to deviate for 1 minute, I was speaker when Kandla Port did 100 million ton, when Gadkari ji was shipping minister. I said, sir, before you came, there was 17 permission required in ship owning because we are ship owners. And now when you came, now it has become 4. So great. I would also confess that the corruption level is almost nothing. I said, then how come that India has total 1,400 ships and China has 17,000? He said, firstly, we have to understand, and we are one of the few industries there is no income tax. If I show you the positive side of my industry, you will drop your, after this meeting, everybody will like to be a ship owner. But think twice before becoming, because out in this year only 9 ship owners have gone bust, you know. So the question is that when, even if government is announcing something or government is implementing something, the ground realities are quite different. So please do not invest on the basis of announcement. But one thing is sure, the Indian economy will become 3 times. Whether our export or import will become 3 times, that I'm not very sure. And if you see the pattern, I would request that employees should also do the study of pattern of the cargo volume which are coming, because I'm operating at, my tugs are operating at LNG terminal, ethane carriers, coal carriers, capsize vessels. So I know that India is more than majority of, if we are removing one glamorous port like JNPT or Mundra or few of them, the main business is only bulk cargo. So Indian actually business is smaller than what you are thinking. So my request is that when you grow, please don't worry so much about it, but think of growing into new line as an additional business. If every 5 business give you even 20 lakh rupees additional income, that improves your foundation, that also improves your option. And whenever India is growing 3 times bigger, you can make one vertical stronger than others. This is my strong feeling about your industry.
Thank you, Suresh bhai. You know, just before on a lighter note, you mentioned don't buy a ship ever. So when I joined my business years ago, my father made me swear only on one thing, that you will never buy a ship or you'll never charter a ship. Promise me that, everything else you can do. So I've stuck to that promise and you have just vindicated that stand.
And I have 18 ships, tugs, of course, but 18 of them. So I can understand both. I'm smiling. So I make less mistakes, luckily.
So Suresh bhai, there are a few questions on the panel. In fact, quite a few. One is from Mr. Shantanu, that can Suresh bhai amplify on control on creation and control of execution? It is an important concept on empowerment and delegation.
See, because what has happened, what I do every Saturday, I look 1 hour, I do introspection, that what exactly I've done and what should I do further. I take example, whether I should expand in business or not, whether I should take more debts or not. I can, whether I should retire my debts faster. So ifs and buts continuously. Now, during that, you also get the idea of creation, that what exactly, now if all of you think, combinedly or individually, depending upon your emotions with each other, that what exactly I can create new, you will get 10 ideas, out of which 8 will be what I say that you can put into round file, that is dustbin, you know, but 2 you will get the idea which you may not have thought as yet. So think of those creativity, because presently what is happening, maybe all of us, this includes me, sometimes we are executing the work for time pass, you know, because we believe that we can do execution better, which is true. But the question is, same energy if we put on creating, we are putting the organization on form foot. And the creators have a lot of pain and loneliness, but creators have the biggest gain, because his legacy, like as Mr. Dhulia said, my legacy matters. So I think in this case, all of you are creator, but somewhere during your journey of growth, you downsize your creativity and focus more on execution. So maybe you can still reverse it. I think it is reversible and it is doable.
So you are saying learn to delegate?
No, need not be. Even if you are controlling, there are many ways of controlling without actually getting involved.
Okay.
My tug has gone to firefight that tanker in Sri Lanka. I see it for 3 minutes a day, you know, because my captains, and if any emergency, they will come on the line. Otherwise, let them manage. Maybe they will not manage as good as or better than me. It is a different story. But I don't want to get bogged down with that.
Very true. Easier said than done. I'm just telling you from experience.
Yes.
So next question also from Shantanu. Please amplify on brand being a lesser consideration in the perspective of even B2B business brand carries a value.
True. Brand does carry value because your parent company should be carried. Like Parekh Group does carry a value. Parekh Marine is our parent company. We are proud of it. So wherever I have to use their name as a brand, I use their name. There is no doubt of it. Because brand carries a value, but whether brand extension is the only way. Because what happens sometimes, brand is also creating a situation that we feel that because our father did the business, we must do the same thing. I have done the business, so I must do something. Now, when you go up the ladder, if you go on the 5th step, then you have to leave the 1st step. No, otherwise, how will you reach the 5th step? So our biggest problem is that we are not able to leave the 1st step. How many of businesses you are doing which are not very financially viable, but because that is your tradition, so you do it. Now it has its own merits and demerits. It gives you satisfaction of maintaining the tradition, but it has its own disadvantage that your growth and the profitability and your organization strengthening, that is taking the toll there. So it is a very dicey thing which individual opinion differs.
Okay. So next is from Mr. Amardeep Singh. Concor getting into custom. Yes, this is a very, very, very burning issue right now. As you know, Concor has got into custom brokerage or is getting into custom brokerage, and shipping lines are now offering door-to-door services with digital portals where you can book freight online, release your BL online and everything. Now, what would your advice be to the traditional LSP player? What can he do in this kind of situation faced against such giants?
One second, Suresh bhai, before you answer, I think let me give complete perspective of Concor getting into custom brokerage. I think they are getting into custom brokerage, but at present what they have done is they have asked custom brokers to register and bid to them and show interest of custom brokers being their subcontractors and Concor offering a full service. So maybe you handle the full perspective of the question.
So it proves in an indirect way what I'm saying, that whoever has got the infrastructure, they can hire the talent for services, but not vice versa. So what has happened that we don't have resources, or we do not have emotional capability, or we may not have legacy to create the type of infrastructure Concor or Adani or anybody is creating. That's fine. But the question is within that also, whether we can synergize. Like today, if I was the sole decision maker in MTOI, then I will seriously think that let us go to government and say under Atmanirbhar that we are Indian. Give us the land on an economical case on the lease for say 50 acres, every port or whichever location. And within the association, you share it. So what happens? You have one logistic park. Always remember, Mandi has more customer than individual sabji wala. So there is a Mandi. And then thereafter, suppose you have a warehouse of say 25,000 square feet and somebody has got 50,000, but you can still claim that I can give you a warehouse of 1 million square feet. That is not what is happening, because we are diverted. Because we are not synergizing ourselves. So our cost of operation is, I think, our cost of keeping manpower is increasing. And finally, that is cutting on our bottom line. That is cutting on our self-esteem, because we are not making enough money. So we are not very sure whether to expand in that business. Let Concor be there. I do not think that beyond a point government can do the type of work what you gentlemen can do. But that doesn't mean that we do not have to have some presence in infrastructure, whether with your own money or whether you are outsourcing from somewhere. That is a different issue. You see the people like Indospace. Indospace has done 50 million square feet of warehousing. I don't know whether you are aware about that.
But sir, that is a PE fund. That is a PE fund, right? I mean, money is there. Tomorrow, for argument's sake, if MTOI does this, how are we going to raise that kind of capital or bandwidth, sir? It's very difficult, a tall order, if I may say so.
You see, for that only, I would say that you have to combine your domestic and this skill. I have seen the people like they do custom clearance at 1,000 rupees a container, but in the distribution of the items which are consumer goods, they make 20,000-30,000 rupees a container. Now, whether you can do it, presently what is happening, what I see when I meet all of you, many of them I feel that you are over-obsessed with import and export. Why don't you see life beyond that? My trucks do not go out, rarely go out. Because I never believed that I am capable of running a ship which can go from here to here. And that's why I'm making money and that's why I'm smiling with you. Because your niche market should be self-belief. And Indian domestic market is quite so you mix and match. I'm not saying that you shift totally from international to domestic. Second thing, if 5, 6 of you join hands and you take over shares, token shares or small shares in a foreign forwarder and do the backward integration of giving them business to India. You can have Japanese or you can have European or so many of them who can come here. They may not come to X, Y, or Z, or by rotation they may come, but there will be a business which you can fight back. Yeah, otherwise, shipping lines for their own survival. Believe me, if the ancillary charges, the day when ancillary charges are removed, the shipping line in India can have deep, worldwide, they can have deep trouble, So they're surviving on ancillary charge. It's the only segment of shipping where ancillary charge is the main income is zero otherwise. So problem is, they are also trying, they are also struggling. So what they are trying to do, they are doing the backward integration of the services. If they are doing the backward integration of services, you should do forward integration of the services within your limits and everything. And PE need not come to your company. PE can come into that particular segment, which is or borrowing. Believe me, under Atmanirbhar, you can get the borrowing for this business at much cheaper interest than what you people are estimating. But it should be on association form. It should be done at a political level, at government level. That is, we 50 people believe in future of India in infrastructure creation. Some charming person has to explain correctly, it will happen.
Thank you. Sir, as I said, you and George are the only two ship owners who I know are always smiling. So that's a compliment to both of you all. Sir, Mr. Tushar Jani has one question. I will give the floor to him before we wind up the proceedings.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Suresh Bhai, the guru of all, thank you. And I just want to put it on record, whatever little I know about NUSCC, my guru is Suresh Bhai. So, guru to you now from Achela. Sir, my experience, in a very wise advice, you give it to us probably. But understand, we are very fragmented. Our vision is very, very small. We still live with the problem every day. Our typist nahi aaya, stenographer nahi aaya, computer operator nahi aaya. How we will load document? The man has not come. Who will go to JNPT to custom clear this? How we will get organized the truck? The shipper is not, telling us organize the truck. We don't have trucks. Trucks is from somebody else. There is rain. There is earthquake. What we're going to do? There is accident on the road. Container has turned down. So many problems we have on a day-to-day, actually. And what happens ultimately, our management bids. We may be MBA, we may be smart, we may be Gujarati, we may be Sindhi, we may be Kutchi. But at the end, the physical aspect bogs down to us. That's number one. So there's no chance for things for us to expand. Second thing, I think so you touch and there's also touch. Nobody gives you capital. When I started Blue Dart, Suresh Bhai, I borrowed capital at 27% in 1984. Okay? When I see startup today, somebody is ready to sign $100 million. So that's another problem we have. Third problem we have is that no professional ready to come and work for us. If I say, even today within our own segment, if I want to hire a CEO and my friend Shashikaran Shetty wants to hire a CEO, he'll get CEO like this. In spite of me giving probably the same money, he will not work for me. He said, no, there is a glamour with all cargo. And what is Saurashtra Clearing and see what it would be? Why should I go work for it? That's our third question. People don't come and work for us. Fourth, you and probably all of us are self-made people. And our money is built hard way. We work morning 6 o'clock, evening 2 o'clock. And when you get a professional, he's going to go home by 5:30, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Huh? If you have a strike, your workers are agitating, he's not going to go and talk to the worker. He said, okay, let's go to the labor court, let's form the union, let's do this. Now, there is a complete conflict in our thinking. Here is entrepreneurship, here is a professional. In between, you need money to burn every month, every day, which we don't have. So, क्या बोलते हैं हवेली लेने गए घर गो बिक्री करके आया. So I'm fine wherever I am. I'll make 3-4 crore rupees salana. I will still do export import. I will still do container. Okay, my children will go to US. I'll be able to give them study. Maybe they'll become a banker. Why should I expand this business? There is no incentive for me. Top of it, we are so much controlled by government. We just read some 56 custom house broker license was suspended. Now, I know there are people license suspended who are reputed people. Reputed custom house broker has been suspended. So whether it's business with ICD, whether it's business with CFS, whether it's business at port, whether it's port terminal, whether it's airport, we are all controlled by government all the time. And I keep on saying that we are like that Draupadi who's married to 5 Pandav, and there is one Kaurav standing ready to take our Vastrahara every time. And finally, what happens, whatever we make money, the income tax department comes one day because he found somewhere something, comes to our place and takes everything what we won in the last 5 years. So why should I expand this business? Why should I get into that? This is where I'm putting a lot of people at least of my age in this to come and tell you. So if you can throw light on this.
Yeah, I would like to say that you are answering your own questions. We had a question about legacy. We had a question about sustainability of the business. We had a question about families, future generation joining our business. And fourth is reinvention. You are smiling still because you reinvented. Now, without reinvention, your brand value will not be there. Your family will not have interest in joining your business. And as you rightly say, professional will not join. That's why I said like-minded partner who can synergize with you is a better option in those circumstances. Okay, your problem is that today our biggest difficulty is that you are so much accustomed to get humiliated by some government officer comes, you have to flatter him or everything, that finally, if you don't flatter them, you feel bad, something like that. So we have to find there are many businesses I personally feel which you can do. Like suppose when you talked about the raising the money, yes, there is a problem. But if a logistic park from the association level is tried, at least we try it, because first of all, you should believe that without reinvention, this industry has a blood future and your next generation will not be inclined to come. So how do we reinvent? That we focus, because presently I still believe, Tushar bhai, that your employee members are too much focusing on problem, not on solution. Problem we know. I can give you 10, 15 more problem. If I tell you sob story, what I am facing, then you will think, Raat ko India se bahar bhag jao. It happens. But the question is, how do we focus on the possible solution and re-emerge out of it? And there are a lot of options which are available, because this Atmanirbhar is a good encashing cow for all of you. We have to find solution about it. How to make our Indian as Atmanirbhar in some form. And how do we benefit out of it? We make a good issue out of it. So this is an example. And otherwise, what will happen? The big houses which are, because for that, the larger picture about the airport, there is still a scope of growth. But so far as are concerned, in 2014, Indian government was saying that we will handle 1.8 billion tons of cargo. Presently, we are handling 1.2 in the same year. So our cargo handling is nowhere near to what government. So new ports will not come. If they come, they will not survive. So problem is that when ports are saturated, when our import-export is not at tangent with our country's growth, at that moment we have to reinvent for the sake of our league, sake of our brand, and sake of our next.
Thank you, Suresh bhai. We have time for just one more question, please. That is from Wilfred. He wants to say, what would be your advice to young or new entrepreneurs looking to make it big in our industry? Just like a motto or a dictum to keep in mind.
This I can answer well, because I tell to all of my children, Naresh son and everybody, that the simple thing is that when you work as an entrepreneur, first 10 years, every evening you will feel kidhar ghus gaya. Iske badle multinational ke liye kaam karta, it would have been better. But your joy of the realist journey comes after 50, if you are stable enough that nobody tells you to retire at the age of 60, and your creativity leaves your footprint. And creativity, when your next generation work under you, they observe from you and learn from you.
Ravi,
I think
but usko de dena please, yaar.
Sorry, sir. I think someone
they have to reduce. If you are very risk averse and if you are very pessimistic, then you have to think twice before becoming there. But if you are willing to take modest risk, I'm not saying a blind risk, but modest risk, and believe that you can reinvent, then I still believe that your industry has a lot of juice, but not in the present form. That is the way.
Thank you, Suresh bhai. Thank you very much.
And whoever wants to invite me for coffee or a beer, then I can discuss further on the issue. I can also invite all of you, something.
Even now, sir, even in today's day with social distancing.
No problem, no problem.
Thank you, Suresh bhai. Really an honor to have you with us today and sharing these pearls of wisdom with us. We are truly indebted. I wish we had more time, but I'm sure many of us will reach out to you on a personal level to seek your advice.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Suresh bhai.
And thank you for this nice gift. I will cherish it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Suresh bhai, again from all of us. The only problem with the meeting with you is we always feel we should have more time with you. Today also, I feel we should have another hour with you, but maybe one day we will have a much longer interaction.
I think last suggestion, you call 10 or 10, 15 simulator, like I can be one of them. There are so many of them, and sit together and one afternoon, whole afternoon we chat. We don't have to give sermons or anything. We are brothers, we all have come up in the life in hard way. Like you could have come, so we can chat, That will be good. Thanks.
Suresh bhai, Mr. Dinesh Lal wants to say something to you. So, Dinesh, please go ahead. Dinesh, yeah, I'll unmute you, Dinesh. 1 minute. Go ahead.
Suresh bhai, how are you? I just wanted to say, in reply to more of bhai's question, I was a professional, and you remember how many international airports we used to bump into each other in the 80s. But I found in this industry, entrepreneurs don't know how to deal with professionals, and neither do they respect the value of professional. And I all my life wanted to be a professional, and finally up and down I've been doing it. So just want to say, yes, you can get professionals, but then we have to learn to give it to the professional, and then is our judgment, do we know how to deal with it or not? That's about all I had to say on the professional part of it. And Suresh bhai, enjoyed what you said. Interesting we have to catch up one day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you. Thank you, Suresh bhai, once again.
Sure.
Thank you. George, over to you, please, for the balance proceedings.